Hi, I'm Gaurav Vasisht, also known as Professor G. I am a teacher at Leapwaters. Today, I will teach in a very simple way how to build self-confidence. At the end of this video, I will give you 3 tips in which anybody can build self-confidence. All right, so let me start with a story. Let me start with an anecdote. I once had a very interesting conversation with my friend Jorgen Kuarak. This was on a plane ride from Stockholm to Gallivare, up north in Sweden, beyond the Arctic Circle. Anyways, he was in charge of admissions at a prestigious college in Sweden, and I asked him what he looked for in a student. What made him select the candidate for the limited seats? He opened up and talked about how parents would always come up to him and they'd say, okay, my son or my daughter wants to come study at your university. What is it that we have to do? So they were used to ask the parents, what are you looking for? And Jorgen would ask the parents instead and say, well, what does your son or daughter do? And Jorgen always wanted to know what they do really well that the university would be interested in, and typically their answers, well, used to be like, they've got great vision. My kid's really good. They aced their exams, or my daughter is the top ranker, there's nobody that can outscore her. Or my son's got a great thinking mind, really great in academics, also in sports. Jorgen went on to narrate what he would say to the parents, and he would say something like, yeah, not bad, but to be quite honest with you, those are the last things I'm looking for. The most important thing that Jorgen used to look for, and most of us do, is self-confidence. That conversation led me to, do a lot of deliberations on my part, and to really understand the subject matter and the term self-confidence. Without that skill, and I use the word skill intentionally, without that skill, we are useless as a student. This is because when you lose sight or belief in yourself, we're done for, I use the definition of self-confidence to be the ability or the belief to believe in yourself, to accomplish any task, no matter the odds, no matter the difficulty, no matter the adversity. The belief that you can accomplish anything, that's self-confidence. Some of you must be wondering, great, I don't have it. I'm so shy. I'm never going to be able to do it. And so on and so on. And you start to drag all the way down here, You go down. But I use the word skill because I believe it can be trained. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways in which we do. At the end, I will give you 3 ways that you can actually train yourself to be self-confident. But let me start with something. The easiest way to build self-confidence, first to understand it, there's no magic button. I can't say, hey, this plane is going down, who can fly? Put up your hand. Nobody can say, I can, I'm confident. Well, we're all going down there. Repetition, 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 right? There's no magic button, like I said. The problem is we expect to be self-confident, but we can't be unless the skill or the task we are doing is not novel, is not new to us. We want to be in a situation where we have so much pressure, in that, and what I mean, because pressure builds diamonds. We want to be in a situation where you can say to yourself, hey, I've done this 1,000 times. I was talking about repetition, repetition, repetition. Let me give you an example to make it very clear. I once had to give a speech to 800 people in an auditorium. 800 people, it gave me goosebumps. I did my preparation and I practiced in front of a mirror. I normally do. Hey, I'm sounding good, I said to myself. And then I went in front of my kids and my wife and I said, oh gosh, I got a little nervous even with my wife and kids. Then I went to my office and I did with my team, the same thing. Oh my God, I'm a little bit more nervous. But by the time I get to the auditorium where 800 people are there, I won't have a single ounce of nervousness because of my ability to practice. Over and over and over again, I practiced and I was confident, right? The problem with repetition is how many of us bail after the first bit of failure? How many of us bail after the first bit of adversity? The story of Edison, and it depends on who you ask. There's anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 tries to build that light bulb. 1,000 to 10,000 tries. Another lovely, story of a person, J.K. Rowling. Do you know how many publishers she took her Harry Potter book to? I believe the number was 12. 12. After 2 or 3 rejections, I'd be like, what the? After 6 or 7, I'm sure most of us would have thought, maybe not. Definitely after 9 or 10 of those rejections, I would be looking to do something else besides being an author. I'm a published author too, but I know what rejection is. Right. So 12 times somebody said no to her, J.K. Rowling. But she got there because she kept doing it. Practice, 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 repetition, repetition, repetition. Do not accept failure. So maybe it shouldn't be about repetition, maybe you will say. And you will probably be right. Because the answer should be persistence. Because we all repeat something, but very few of us really will persist. So that's one way to build self-confidence. Get out there. Do what you want to do and do not accept no. There's enough people telling us we can't do it. We're not good enough. Why do we want to tell ourselves that? We know for a fact that thoughts influence actions. Our thoughts influence actions. Note this, guys. We know that our thoughts influence actions. Why do we want to say anything negative? Any negative self-talk to ourselves? So let me give you those 3 ways to build self-confidence. I told you I'll give you those 3. So the first thing you need, all right, we're talking about persistence, but we need that beautiful thing called self-affirmation. We are not going to talk negative to ourselves. So you remember Muhammad Ali? He was the greatest boxer, but he was not greatest boxer just like that. It was his self-affirmation. He used to come out and say, I am the greatest. He used to stand up in the mirror, in front of the mirror and say, I am the greatest. Who else is going to tell you? There need to be quiet moments in your bedroom, quiet moments when you're probably brushing your teeth. So take that moment and think of a sentence that you could use as your affirmation, that you need to reaffirm. Use self-affirmations, guys. Ut re mana. That is my affirmation. This loosely translates to something like mind, get up. I know it's not your typical self-affirmation and it's so, vague out there, but this is what my mother used to say to buck me up, and it stuck with me this lifetime. If I don't say it, I don't believe it, no one else will. This is what we need to know. This is the number 1 lesson, of being self-confident, you need to believe in yourself. Remember, always a word of advice. There is a difference between hubris and ego and false pride. Just reminding yourself in quiet silent moments, put down a list. Put it down. It should be right beside your mirror or your bed. About all the things that make you who you are, make me who I am. Because I'm sure you will make a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. But people around me will recognize that and they'll tear me down, and pretty soon I'll start to believe them, and that is what I don't have to do. I don't want to, bring negativity into my life. Now, the second method again related to that negativity. We focus only on the positive. We focus on the positive. If we manage to praise ourselves when we do good, it reinforces the positive behavior. We forget this because it sounds so simple. Catch yourself when you are good. And last, the third point, last but not the least, as they say, self-confident people interpret feedback the way they choose to. You need to use this, the feedback you get to fix your mistakes. The more you improve, the better your confidence. It's not a magic button. So the 3 points I've given you, 3 simple ways to build self-confidence. If you follow that, I promise you, you will be a much confident person just by following discipline, persistence. No one will believe in you unless you do. No one. You have to remember that. So here's to the normal ones, crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, somebody like me, the round pegs in square holes, again, somebody like me. We're all unique and supposed to be different, folks. And when people look at us, believe in yourself. Have self-confidence.